I cannot. Hell no, bro. I was supposed to be watching this in peace.
Stay tuned till the end for more information. Fruit of the Loom is an American clothing manufacturer most well known for selling underwear. Most people recognize the brand for their colorful logo, which has nothing to do with underwear. In the middle is a big red apple, surrounded by 3 different colored grapes and dark green leaves. According to official sources, that's all there is to the Fruit of the Loom logo, but many people will claim that this version is missing something. One of the strangest topics of obscure online lore.
Here's my thing. I don't know why I also vividly remember this being there with the Fruit of the Loom thing, and then apparently now people are saying that this is never there, that it's just the fruits.
One of the strangest topics of obscure online lore is the discrepancy over whether the Fruit of the Loom logo ever contained a cornucopia. It's an example of the Mandela effect, a phenomenon where many people's memories do not match up with reality. Many examples of the Mandela effect can be chalked up to common misconceptions. The often cited Berenstain Bears is most likely misremembered due to how common the suffix "steen" is in.
Where what? No, I remember it being Steen. Berenstein, like Berenstain. Berenstain? It was never Berenstain. It was always this, Berenstein or Steen. Dude, I hate the Mandela effect, bro, because the Mandela effect starts making me question my own sanity. I start feeling like I'm crazy. Stain sounds off. Stain doesn't even sound real. Hold up, I gotta charge my shit now. Holy shit, bro. This man... Oh my god, hold up, because I'm downloading so much. Bro, you know what I think I have to get with my Steam Deck? I think I have to get the dock. I saw that the dock was on sale for like... I don't know if I should get that dock or if I should get a third-party dock. Yeah, there's a dock for the Steam Deck. It's 80 bucks right now. That's what I'm saying. So I'm thinking, should I get it from Steam itself or should I get like another brand version of the Steam Deck dock? I don't know. I have to see. If you get the dock, does it only charge or do you get to play in HDMI? No, I think you get to play in HDMI. I think I've seen it. Yeah, you can get the dock and then the dock actually like lets you... Wouldn't that be crazy? Then does that mean that I could stream games from Steam but not using my PC off my Steam Deck? I might have to look up a YouTube video or something. That sounds kind of nutty.
Berenstain Bears is most likely misremembered due to how common the suffix "steen" is in proper names. People misspell Looney Tunes because of how they're used to spelling cartoon. People misspell Fruit Loops.
Nah, Fruit Loops was never this. I remember vividly the 2 O's. Fruit Loops.
Because of how they're used to spelling fruit. A lot of these erroneous memories are created out of a company stylizing a certain word in a logo and our brains autocorrecting it to a more conventional version. Anyone who has ever studied for a history exam can tell you that we can't always count on our memory. We utilize a combination of schemas and heuristics to efficiently process information. These cognitive techniques give us speed at the cost of accuracy. They allow us to read scrambled words like these, but sometimes they cause us to miss information hiding in plain sight. On my Dale Earnhardt video, I missed this typo despite reviewing it nearly 100 times in editing. Sometimes our minds play tricks on us and we see things that aren't really there.
This is the construct.
Most psychologists believe that memory is a reconstructive process. We recall information not through identical snapshots of events, but by piecing together a scene through a series of key details. Reconstruction prevents memories from being 100% faithful to reality. No one can pay attention to all the minutiae of an event, so beyond a certain point of specificity, certain details will be left out, rendering our memories forever incomplete. In addition to this, reconstruction may be influenced by several other cognitive processes, resulting in distortions. Sometimes people may reconstruct a single memory out of multiple separate but similar events. This is likely the reason behind some people remembering the mythical Sinbad genie movie Shazam. In 1996, Shaq starred in a movie called Kazam, 2 years after a Sinbad TV airing in which he dressed like a genie. The lost Sinbad movie was simply the result of people conflating these similar events. There was no Jiffy peanut butter, only Jif and
Yes, I remember. There was Jif and then there was Skippy.
Skippy. When recalling information, we tend to either miss details or mix up details with something else very similar.
That's why I call GIF GIF. I know it's spelled with a J, but I like to call it GIF instead of GIF. And then people get mad at me whenever I call GIF GIF. I just call it GIF because I like how this sounds. GIF.
What is far more unusual is recalling a unique detail that supposedly never existed. The Fruit of the Loom discrepancy implies that numerous people are falsely inserting an extraneous object into their recollection of the logo. This isn't the same as people misremembering a monocle on the Monopoly Man.
The Monopoly Man never had a monocle? You know what it is because there's so many logos that look similar to each other. Doesn't the peanut guy from the Peanuts have a monocle? Maybe that's why we thought he had a monocle, because the peanut guy has a monocle, doesn't he?
Caricatures of wealthy aristocrats are often depicted with a top hat and monocle, so it's entirely plausible that people would project the image of a...
That's what I'm saying. The peanut guy here has a monocle, I remember. So maybe it's because we see him with the monocle and the top hat. He has a similar top hat, and then we would just instantly do that.
Monocle onto their memories of Mr. Monopoly. Ultimately, the error is nothing more than adding a small circle and line to a monochromatic drawing. With the Fruit of the Loom logo, people are supposedly mistaken in envisioning a distinct brown object unlike anything else in the frame. A cornucopia, also known as a horn of plenty, is not exactly a common object. Wordcount.org ranks the term cornucopia around the 42,000th most common word in the English language. I'd imagine that for most...
The most common, but that's the thing. We never called it a cornucopia. We just call it that brown thing behind the fruit. Let's keep it a stack. You just taught me that word today, a cornucopia. And never called it that. It's the brown thing behind the fruit.
Most of you watching, it's a word that only crosses your mind maybe once per year. Even on the rare occasion that someone does encounter the term, its most common present-day use is the figurative sense, meaning abundance, or the term used to describe the place with all the weapons in the Hunger Games. The physical object the word is referring to serves the very niche purpose of a decorative autumn accessory. Cornucopias are most frequently depicted among fruits and vegetables common to the fall harvest. This includes apples and grapes, but more often features pumpkins, squash, corn, and sunflowers, crops you'd expect to see around Thanksgiving time. For most of us, the sight of a cornucopia will evoke a color palette of gold, brown, and orange, consistent with the changing vegetation of autumn.
That's beautiful.
These colors are mostly absent from the Fruit of the Loom logo, so it's somewhat far-fetched to infer that this image would naturally prime people to think of a cornucopia. If that were the case, then wouldn't people be mistaking a cornucopia out of any logo with a pile of fruit? To make matters more bizarre...
No, I feel like it depends on the... Nah, bro. Because then it wouldn't make sense with Capri Sun, because I remember the water.
Many who claim to remember the cornucopia mentioned that they first learned about the object from the Fruit of the Loom logo. Some recall specific conversations with their parents in which they mistook the object for a seashell or a bugle chip. Others distinctly remember mistakenly referring to the cornucopia as the loom, which is another term most young children haven't learned yet. It's much harder to dismiss this version of the logo as a fabrication when so many corresponding memories exist. Most people claim the cornucopia logo existed in the 1990s and early 2000s, although some recall the cornucopia as far back as the 60s and 70s. In 1973, jazz musician Frank West released a parody of the underwear brand whose album cover referenced the shape of a cornucopia. In 2006, the film Ant Bully depicted a pair of underwear clearly based on the Fruit of the Loom brand, which also features a cornucopia. In the 2012 South Park episode about ziplining, Cartman's underwear portrayed an additional reference to Fruit of the Loom, which once again depicts a cornucopia. These are 3 different kinds of media from 3 different decades, all portraying the same object in reference to Fruit of the Loom's logo. Additional references to the cornucopia can be found in various print sources across the time span. However, in stark contrast to the abundance of personal testimony and secondary sources regarding the logo, physical evidence of the cornucopia's existence has proven hard to come by. Over the years, Fruit of the Loom has sold conceivably millions of products, so how is it that hardly anyone has been able to produce even a single example of the cornucopia existing on old clothing? Solving the paradox is seemingly as easy as reaching into your old underwear drawer and finding a pair with a design. So why can't anyone seem to do it?
Wear the same underwear in the safety of your own home. Fruit of the Loom, we keep making it better, not expensive.
Vintage Fruit of the Loom ads aren't much better at helping us find the cornucopia. Many followers of the theory like to point to this canceled trademark filed by the US Patent Database as evidence. However, the legal code cited in the paperwork is liberally applied to any trademark with a pile of fruit, so we can't assume this is significant for Fruit of the Loom. Company representatives continue to deny that any trace of a cornucopia ever existed, leaving many ardent supporters of the elusive logo utterly baffled. The result is one of the most mysterious and widespread misconceptions of our time. It's a dilemma that makes no sense for either side. Why would so many people erroneously believe that such a visually distinct object once existed in the logo? And why would Fruit of the Loom have any reason to instigate a mass cover-up? This was something people all around the world would see every time they pulled down their pants to use the toilet. How could it result in this much confusion? Well, going back to previous examples, one explanation for the discrepancy would be that people are simply confusing the Fruit of the Loom logo with some other prominent logo featuring a cornucopia. Browsing the US Trademark Registry reveals several other similar logo designs, but none belonging to brands prominent enough to reasonably create such a widespread dispute. Some like to point to the brown leaves of a previous logo iteration and claim that people have confused that for the cornucopia. While the shape and formation of the leaves is not at all like the supposed cornucopia design, it is somewhat plausible that on very small print versions of the tag, some people may have mixed up the two. Another explanation could be that the cornucopia version of the logo was only printed on knockoff versions of the main brand. Knockoffs are common for virtually any brand of apparel, but Fruit of the Loom typically marketed itself as an inexpensive consumer product, so it seems unlikely that a generic clone could claim enough of the market share to fool so many people about the true appearance of the logo. It's possible that the cornucopia logo only existed as a seasonal variant, or as part of a special collection. This could explain why people can only find the standard fruit version. Maybe the cornucopia only existed on some tags of Fruit of the Loom products, rather than serving as the official logo. Either way, these explanations don't help us justify why physical versions of the cornucopia don't seem to exist.
Bro, this is weird. So there's gonna be like an alternate universe where they're gonna have Fruit of the Loom with the cornucopia being like, was the cornucopia ever there? And then people are gonna be like, what do you mean? And then somebody's gonna be like, look, I could have sworn that there was never a cornucopia. It was just fruit. Wait a minute, you're right. That's kind of weird. I never remember this being there. Bro, we're fucked.
More radical theories point to the idea of parallel universes and timeline swapping.
Yup.
The possibility that our consciousness was seamlessly transferred to a totally separate but equally plausible reality. A reality where everything is identical except for a few cosmetic differences between brand names and an undiscovered Sinbad movie.
I really don't think...
You got a better explanation?
At the end of the day, does it really matter whether or not the Fruit of the Loom logo has a cornucopia, or whether Kit Kat has a hyphen, or whether the tip of Pikachu's tail is black? The Mandela effect is largely a manifestation of the mundane, information which is not salient enough for us to pay close attention. Everyone in America has probably seen the face of a penny over 1,000 times, but how many of us can accurately recreate...
Bro, remember that one episode of SpongeBob where he's like, poop, people order our patties? I used to remember that as a kid of SpongeBob legit saying people order our poop. And for some reason that got stuck in my head for a long time. And then when I saw like the episode, not recently, but a couple years back, obviously when I was still very, very young, and I saw people order our patties, I was like, wait a minute, wasn't it poop? People order our poop. I don't know. I was tweaking.
All of its components from memory. The fact of the matter is that the face of a penny is not relevant to how we understand it as an object. There's no disputing who was president in 1985 or what the score was before the Atlanta Falcons choked in Super Bowl 51. We tend to remember whatever we find important, fascinating, or unique, and oftentimes your underwear tag doesn't quite fall into that category. Sometimes it's easier to imagine that reality itself has been distorted than confront the idea that our memory on an everyday level is quite fallible. Memory is one of our only connections with the past. In many ways, how we remember the world makes up the essence of who we are as a person. We go about our lives under the assumption that what we remember is entirely accurate, and it's terrifying to consider that our assessment of reality may only be tenuous at best. Ultimately, memory is a lot like underwear. We use it every day, it's necessary for our daily lives, and we always have it on unless we're very intoxicated. We don't tend to think about it very much because it seems so straightforward and reliable. Unfortunately, both memory and underwear are doomed to wind up permanently stained with something we don't quite understand. A cornucopia, much like a memory, is a relic of a bygone time, a token of the past that will forever remain frustratingly out of reach. At least now you can appreciate being in the now. The present makes up a tiny fraction of our lives compared to the past and future, but it's the only time frame we will ever truly know. We live in an unprecedented era when we are no longer encumbered by the imperfections of memory alone. Almost everybody on Earth now has the ability to capture a moment in time with as much detail as you can fit on an HD display. Thanks to the technology of the future, our connection with the past has never been stronger. So be sure to preserve the past by taking plenty of photos and videos in the present. Enjoy the now, even the mundane details, because you never know just how suddenly things can change.
Is that how Emblemin looks?
Oh hey, how nice of you to stop by. I was just getting ready to chow down on another delicious Thanksgiving feast.
I've never seen how this motherfucker looks.
So Rusty, do you remember a cornucopia in the Fruit of the Loom logo?
Do I ever? Of course I do. No, of course I don't. Why would there be a cornucopia in the Fruit of the Loom logo? It doesn't make any sense. Is Fruit of the Loom supposed to be a Thanksgiving-based underwear company? Is this all part of this the Mandela effect? The whole thing, did Mandela die, or was he just in prison for a long time? Can you imagine how disrespectful it is? Not can you even imagine, it definitely is. Is the man dead, or is he still alive? I mean, all right, it's very effing stupid that people are confusing movies that include huge stars. Like, all right, did Kazam actually have... Was Kazam a movie about a genie starring Shaquille O'Neal, or was it Shazam with largely forgotten actor Sinbad? Of course it was Kazam with Shaquille O'Neal, the movie that everyone remembers if you're older than 20 years old. Yes.
Oh boy, sounds like yet another classic Thanksgiving dinner table rant. It's a good thing I have these noise-isolating Raycon earbuds.
Is the dog that gave away...
If you're looking for a great gift this holiday season, you should pick up a pair of Raycon Everyday E25s. Starting at just half the price of other premium brands, Raycon earbuds offer enhanced bass and seamless Bluetooth pairing with a more compact, comfortable design. Pass the time while traveling by using their high-quality sound to listen for never-before-heard Mandela effects in your favorite songs. And with up to 6 hours of battery life, you can outlast those really long family arguments. Now's the time to get the best prices of the year on Raycons. But hurry, this offer is only available for a limited time. So check out the link in the description below, or head on over to buyraycon.com/emplemon for 20% off your order.
Who are you talking to? Who are you talking to? There's no one else here. Everyone is dead. The virus has killed everyone. Everyone is literally dead right now. Why are you trying to sell this product
He's cheesing.
to nobody? You think anyone cares? No one's alive. Pathetic.
Oh my god, is that The Simpsons?